This is the T.A.R. Life Podcast from Team Anderson Realty.
Welcome to T.A.R. Life Podcast. I am here with Emmitt Terrell. He is the owner, the big boss, the kahuna, the founder of Level 6 Training, located in Fuquay Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And there is my co-host, Melody Tate, rockstar at T.A.R. And then, of course, the beautiful Jennifer Stewart.
Hello.
Yeah, so I just want to preface this by saying that when my son was 3 months old, and he'll be 7 this year, I went into a boot camp style program that was in Holly Springs, and you trained me for years.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why I had stopped, to be honest. Really, the last, I'd say it's only been 2 years that you haven't trained me. So for four years.
4 years. Yeah. It's hard to believe it was that long.
Pretty dedicated.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like at minimum do 3 days a week, but I tried to do 5. And so he really got me past that baby fat, because the second one is so much harder.
It is.
At least for me. I don't know.
It was for me too.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like your metabolism just goes, you know,
Sure.
you don't need this. Like, you need this fat, and you don't need to lose that. We were just going to keep this on you.
Stay white.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of like hit cardio,
Yep,
and we
HIIT
used
classes.
weights,
Yep.
stuff like that. So tell us about your business and how it's different than what I did,
Sure.
and how somebody or anybody can benefit from what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Level 6 Training, we offer so many different service verticals that touch on all aspects of health and fitness. So we're huge into the HIIT training classes. We still have those, still rock with those. I personally think it's
How
one
many
of the
days a week do you do it?
6.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
But do you
6 days a
incorporate
week.
it into every class, or is it like a selection? Like somebody could
Yeah,
go?
that's a great question. Let me back up real quick. So we do something that we put out called the weekly lineup that actually structures every week's week-to-week training. And we make sure that when we release that weekly lineup, it's very thoughtful in that it's programmed for each avenue, each vertical, each type of training that needs to be done. So whether it's strength, whether it's cardiovascular, whether it's metabolic conditioning, or just good old-fashioned weightlifting, we'll have a little bit of that in each day throughout the week. So we really touch on everything during those classes.
Like what, 15 minutes of it total?
Yeah, like in terms of how it's split up, honestly, we'll dedicate the entire class depending on what it is. So let's just say it's lower body strength. We'll go in there and our 45-minute slate will be all lower body strength.
No, but like how much of that HIIT? How much of HIIT is incorporated in that?
Oh, I see what you're
high
saying.
intensity
Well, and again,
interval
I
training?
would just argue that it depends on the day, because some days
Okay.
we won't touch HIIT at all.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All
So
right.
some days it'll be
Got it.
truly strength, and then some days it'll be like metabolic conditioning, or just we will literally have a class called HIIT, and it'll be cardiovascular
That's the
interval
one that
training.
a lot of people skip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. People
45 straight minutes.
45 straight minutes. And
Whoa.
people duck my cardio classes.
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
What's
Yes,
going
We're
on there?
all
That's
allergic
rough.
to it.
I know. Yeah. I
mean-
need to bring my EpiPen if I do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like
Insane.
passed out.
You guys would be crushing some hikes if you came to some of those HIIT classes. No,
Probably
no
so.
question.
I-
Come on, Melody.
breath,
Let's
like,
go.
I know. I mean, I was out of breath, like climbing up to the boulder. I was like,
You had
It
this
was,
hike
it was
over?
elevation too.
Yeah.
So
That
that is
That makes
another thing.
elevation's
Yeah.
a game changer because
Yeah.
you're lowering O2 up there. But so yeah, we offer those 45-minute classes. And then we also have another program called small group training. And that's a little bit more specialized, a little bit more custom tailored, depending on what people want. It's groups of 3 or 5 people. And they come in, it's a dedicated hour of training. And so that structure will look more like traditional barbell weightlifting, resistance training, Olympic weightlifting if you want to go there.
okay.
Snatches, cleans,
Oh,
deadlifts.
CrossFit.
Yeah, in a lot of
She
ways.
was a CrossFit queen.
Yeah.
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
Yeah.
here. Carolina Beach.
Okay.
That's great.
Good old CB. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, Olympic weightlifting, guys, is another fantastic modality. And I love that about CrossFit. I think my biggest thing with the CrossFit style is just the implementation sometimes.
Yeah.
If you don't have a coach or a trainer that knows exactly what they're doing, you start to get fatigued, you get tired, you're
You
doing
get
those
injured.
overhead lifts, and you can expose or increase your risk of injury. And I think that's something that's worth consideration. We try to limit that as much as we can, but it's not a perfect system. I mean, you guys know.
Yeah.
Training's
How many
kind of-
days a week can the average individual, whether it's your program or not, like
Sure.
for somebody like me, I haven't been working out in 6+ months, probably like 8.
Yeah,
But
we
let's
stopped
just
in
say
August.
6.
We'll say 6. We'll round down.
We
You
stopped
know.
in August.
How many days a week? So it's there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like I'm totally out of shape because we did it for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
How long does it take, or what's the minimum that somebody, I'm thinking 3 days a week?
I would say the absolute bare minimum would be 2. And it depends on someone's conditioning status, right? For ladies like you that tend to be more active and don't have completely sedentary roles and aren't in need of dramatic weight loss, like 75, like 100 pounds.
Okay.
That individual could see results with 2 days and just start there, right? For someone more like yourselves, I would probably say 3 would be a safe minimum. Gives you some rest days in between, go out, do a walk, do a hike, all right? Whatever you do on your off days to get your body moving, but something that's generally speaking centered around some activity.
So like 3 45-minute days?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's the sweet spot for most people starting just while their body acclimates to that amount of volume. I mean, as you guys know, like when you first start a resistance training program or any lifting program, there's a while where your body's just constantly sore.
Yeah.
And you're like, how am I going to recover for my next lift, my next workout, my next leg press session, whatever it may be, right? In that day in between, when you're doing 3 days a week, usually helps most folks kind of get over that hump, and then they're ready to train the next body part or the next split. So I just purchased an infrared sauna, Sunlighten brand, and it has 3 infrared waves, like near, far, and something else. But incorporating that, I've heard, can also help your recovery time. 100%. Yeah. So what a lot of people don't realize about recovery is recovery from exercise depends wholly on aerobic mechanisms within the body and oxygenated red blood flow. So when you're getting things like sauna, people are really into like cold exposure now. Have you guys been familiar with this? Like cold plunges.
They use freezers.
Yeah,
now,
like
and they fill them with water.
Stuff.
I love that.
People like on the internet are going out in, their bikini and just flopping in the snow. And, however they get their cold exposure, that's fine, right? But, understanding that the reason those modalities work for recovery is because you're forcing oxygenated red blood in a different cycle through your body, right? So when you're heating yourself up via sauna or when you're cooling yourself down rapidly via cold tank, cold shower, cold plunge, your circulatory system is responding. And so you're circulating that blood in a different way. And oxygenated red blood is the root of all healing, the root of all recovery.
Oh,
so
that's really
when you guys say you're allergic to cardio, if you're looking for recovery, a light walk or something like that can be a trick.
That is the equivalent of a 2 to 3 mile cardiovascular
exercise. I 100% believe that. Having been in sauna,
45 minutes to an hour.
I could do 45
straight
temperature. I would totally do that.
161
for 45 minutes to an hour straight.
I do that. We do 30, 35.
Yeah. I could do that over a 2-mile run.
I'll tell you, I can too.
I'm taking the run.
I am not taking the run.
Put me in that hot box for an hour. I'll come out there shriveled like a.
I will sit and sweat.
I love it. My mom did it with me, and my mom is not in shape at all. And she's like, I'm like so exhausted. And I go, is it kind of like you ran 2 to 3 miles, but you didn't? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, isn't it better than running 2 to 3 miles?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, of course I'm right.
The same thing.
So one thing I did want to ask you is,
please.
There's a lot of people that get obsessed with exercise, but they don't change their diet at all.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that.
The truth that, there is about an 80% diet. I mean, I know it's not 100% that way, but like for the most part, the bulk of staying fit or getting the results when you're working out has to be diet related.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to nutrition. You hear that phrase tossed around a lot. It's like you can't out-train a bad diet.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, that's true. So let's start with that. In a lot of ways, that's true, right? But where that breaks down is at the extremes, right? So you have like an ultra endurance athlete who's running 70, 80, 100 miles a week, or they're out on the bike, or a guy like, I'll use Michael Phelps as a great example, who was training literally 8 to 11 hours a day swimming actively. He could eat whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
If you looked at his diet while he was training,
but he's a genetic freak of nature too.
He is, but his caloric output is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were to toss any of you into the pool and say, all right, swim 8 hours, you could probably come out and eat whatever the heck you wanted after that. So it does break down a little bit at the extremes where you're just looking to get.
But nobody's going to do extremes, right?
Fair. And so that's where we come back as fitness professionals, realize who we're working with and say, all right, you're not doing 70, 80, 100 miles a week. Maybe 1 or 2 clients you'll have that are like that. But in general, it's got to start with the foundations of nutrition for most people, right? And I think where a lot of people need to start is just understanding what the correct amount of calories is for their body and their level of energy expenditure. And so that's like fitness nutrition 101.
And we need more omega-3s in our diet. We have too many omega-6s.
Gosh. It's bad. So the
Yeah.
average American, the last time I looked, is anywhere from between 15-1 to 30-1 in favor of the omega-6. And the ideal nutrition strategy
Super
is
inflammatory.
it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Cardiovascular disease, atherosclerosis.
dementia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even cognitive issues. I mean, there's still a lot of emerging research around this. But in reality, you're looking for that omega-6, omega-3 relationship ratio to be 1-1 to 2-1. So it's got to be way better. And yeah, we eat a lot of
You know what's
processed
really
refined
good
foods.
for omega-3?
What?
Ratfish liver oil.
I know you just made that up.
No,
Ratfish?
Jennifer and I have been
Yeah.
eating it. Yeah.
You guys, there's no.
So they look like little
There's no
shots
such
of what it's
creature.
telling you what
They're
I've
really
taken in
cute.
Sedona.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
You don't
beginning.
even want to know.
I mean, we're talking about vortexes and ratfish in here. I mean, what's
When
going
got on
on?
the plane, it was like, hey, mouth, take this melatonin. Melt. And I'm just like, pump the birds.
I'm gonna get tired, and I'm like, no,
No.
it's high quality melatonin. Now, did you know, Emmitt?
All right, tell me because I'm learning. I'm learning a lot.
You know
I probably
that
don't.
180 milligrams of melatonin in the evening is pretty anti-cancer.
180 milligrams.
Mhm.
I've never heard of that dosage
Yeah,
before.
I
That
know you
sounds-
haven't,
It's
but the
extreme.
leading
It's
US
very extreme
based
based on what I know.
scientist that studied
Yeah.
it for like 50 plus years, he does
Sure.
180 milligrams an evening. There's not
Every
one
night?
melatonin. Yep. There's
Wow.
not one melatonin research scientist that takes less than 100 milligrams a day,
Wow.
an evening. And so your melatonin production goes down when you hit 40, your 40s.
Yeah.
And I think it's like I personally would probably take 60 milligrams minimum, but personally, with all the cancer that's going around,
Sure.
I would do 180. And it's the quality of the melatonin that's important. So a lot of people have this like grogginess when they're taking melatonin.
I've had
It's
that with
because-
really low doses before.
Yeah, because it's not pure.
Okay.
There's fillers in it, and the way that it's manufactured can be broken down. So you really want the powder form, and like
Okay.
Pure Bulk is a really good brand.
Powdered melatonin.
Yeah.
Here, Melody, take
But
this.
I didn't feel tired.
No, I
That's
had
amazing.
melatonin and amongst other things, and then a whiskey and a diet soda, and I slept great on the plane.
Man, you were sleeping. You
I
were
was
sleeping
sleeping
good.
good.
But it all comes down to it's nutrition,
Sure.
our micro and macronutrients, right?
100%.
It's our diet,
Mhm.
and then it's sleep. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna throw this, and we're gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go
Your
there.
circadian rhythm, right?
Okay, let's talk through that.
When
yeah.
you're sleeping, that's when your melatonin synthesis, like it goes into production. So the
Mhm.
second it gets dark, your brain doesn't know if you turn on your phone and there's blue light, it turns it off immediately. It doesn't
Right.
start back up.
Okay.
So it's done. You need to use red lights if you're going to get up in the evening.
Okay.
You should not sleep with the TV on. You should not sleep with your phone on. It is amazing how disruptive the sleep is. And that's so important for you. It's not just, I got 8 hours of sleep. It's the quality of sleep that you have. And so that is one of those important things with the melatonin production that people have no idea about. So my father, he's got cancer.
Mm.
And that research scientist I'm talking about that takes 180 milligrams an evening, they did a study where people with cancer, when their melatonin production is fully, like with their circadian rhythm and their sleeping is fully active, it stops the cancer from growing and metastasizing. It
Wow.
actually like freezes it while they are sleeping.
Wow.
And it repairs
Mhm.
damaged cells, doesn't
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So then the average person that's not going through cancer, that's just your whole livelihood revolves around that. But
Mhm.
it's just amazing to me because a lot of people sleep with the TV on.
Sure.
Jennifer was
I
that
did for a
person.
long time.
Yeah. People
They
find
get
it
up and they
soothing.
look at their
Yeah.
phone. They have an alarm clock in their room that's not a red light.
Mhm.
They have just lights in general that they leave on, like their children's night lights.
Mhm.
Don't do it. Make it red.
Right.
Isn't that so amazing?
Let them
I mean,
wake up in the pitch black darkness.
It
Yeah.
is. I mean, yeah, like it kind of, I mean, you want to create that kind of I've heard that cave-like environment where it's extremely, extremely without light and
you
then
shouldn't be able to see your
noise.
hand.
Right. And just try to get it as dark and even cool as possible. So skin temperature
I
is
believe that.
related to the quality of sleep as well. Your body needs to drop its skin temperature by, I think it's like 1.5 to 2 degrees. I could be wrong on that exact figure, but it's pretty fascinating when you think, okay, dark and cool, and that gets the body ready for
Yeah.
rest. To what you said about like kind of arresting the development of that cancerous
Yeah.
cell production. That's
So my dad
remarkable.
was getting up because he's in his 70s,
Sure.
and so he has to, drinking a lot of water. His
Right.
cancer, when he did an RGCC circulating tumor cell marker blood test. And it pretty much said that his cancer was active like 80% of the time or 90% of the time, almost 100% of the time. And so we changed his whole sleeping pattern
Everything.
with just the red lights. And I think that makes an enormous difference. But going back to just the average person,
Sure.
you know, it's not just for agents, we have to stay in the best shape of our lives because we're pretty active overall. But just people in general, somebody like you actually have more of a nutritional knowledge than the average trainer.
Yes.
I mean, I've always noticed that, like, since you were training me, and I think that that's really cool and it's helpful, and you're always learning new things.
Right.
So somebody can, you know, consult with you and kind of talk about the diet side of it, and then, you know, train with you.
Absolutely.
And then they can also just pick your brain. And if you don't know it, I'm assuming you would research it.
Well,
further,
not only that,
right?
but I'll tell them I don't know it. And the biggest thing I found with nutrition too, Erica and everybody, I mean, is that the body of research is changing on a daily basis. So I'm almost at the point where I feel like I know less than I ever have because I'm continuing to explore what the science is actually saying. And I'm talking about like well-documented studies that have been around for a long time. Because there's all these fad diets you hear about. It's like ketogenic, it's this, it's
Animal
that.
keto is so bad. I mean, from my cancer research,
Right.
it is so plant-based keto is a lot better, or mostly plant-based keto in terms of the animal proteins. Wild-caught fish, really good because it has those omega-3s that we were talking about.
100%. Cold water.
Cold water.
Cold water
and
fish is awesome.
non-bottom feeders, believe it or not. The
Okay.
groupers are not that great for you.
I believe that.
Yeah. The
'Cause it's
things
their
that
diet,
eat, those
too.
lobsters, they're not that good for you. The shrimp, chicken, organic chicken, it's pretty good. Not turkey, I'm not a big, I love red meat, but
Okay.
I do think that too much of it is unhealthy for you.
Sure.
But if you're going to eat red meat, I'm a big believer in, there's this company I think it's the Midwest, but there's local people too, where it's grass-fed organic.
Okay.
And it's finished with grass.
There you go.
So it's not fed corn or soy, which is very inflammatory to the meat, which then you ingest. I think that's a big one.
It's
as
huge.
well.
And I'm glad you mentioned that grass-fed and finished because I could be wrong about the timeline, but you can have something that's labeled as grass-fed, but the last 2 weeks of that animal's life, they'll switch it to a corn-soy mixture to get its weight up before they slaughter it. And in that period of time, that inclusion of whatever they put in that animal's diet is enough to offset a lot of the fatty acid structures, the helpful ones that you just described when something's grass-fed, grass-finished. I think they're classified as like maybe A2 cows. Have you heard of that designation before?
I've heard of
I could be wrong.
The Japanese Wagyu.
Oh, now that is...
If A5. I don't know if that translates into the American A categories.
I'm hesitant to say if it does or not. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I do know that that grass-fed finished is something that you want to be looking for out there when you're making healthy choices. And again, red meat gets a bad rap from a lot of places. I think it definitely has its place, but to your point, you don't want to be making that.
It's excessive, right?
Right.
Pork, I love pork. It's terrible for you.
Yeah.
Terrible for your body.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. And there's
I don't eat a lot of pork.
even, scripture and among many other things historically that people have looked at to identify certain animals that are, better and worse. And there's actually a surprising amount of nutrition information that you can uncover by going back into scripture and like old practices and traditions and belief. They kind of knew what they were talking about, and so the body of research in some ways is still kind of catching up to that.
Jennifer and I met these Israeli men at the Breakers in Palm Beach, and I just asked them, I said, what is the whole pork thing to the Jewish religion? Because my stepfather's Jewish, but I never really asked. And he was like, we just don't think that the meat is good for your body. Like, it's not just that they are dirty creatures.
Sure.
And I was really fascinated by that because now that I've been doing my research on my own, I'm like, it's really not good for you. And we just kind of put our heads in the sand because it tastes good. But there's so much. Our American diet is absolutely the worst, almost the worst in the world, probably the worst
It's
in the
up
world.
there. It's definitely up
Yeah,
there.
all that processed food. I would say when you have your clients come in, if they could do nothing else, it's probably to avoid as much processed food as possible.
Definitely start there. Like, and it's just weird because nutrition in general can be broken into two categories. It's like you have fitness nutrition, which has, mathematical tenets and principles, calories, proteins, fats, carbohydrates. And then you have long-term health, longevity, energy, and all of that. So you really have like, okay, there's one way to eat for fitness and there's one way to eat for health. and they're not mutually
Gotta
exclusive,
fuse them
but they're
together,
not
right?
necessarily the exact same thing. So I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more, where it's like, you know, a lot of my clients, I want to start them on the fitness side
Mhm.
first. And then if I can get them to the point where they're eating in a pattern that's conducive to their overall health and wellness and body fat, body composition, all those things, then I can start to talk to them about long-term health, longevity, all these things you're bringing up about like the quality of the foods
Mhm.
and omega-3, 6 fatty acid ratios. Like, it's almost a privilege to get to that level because so many people are so broken when it comes to nutrition. They have no idea where to start. So
It's
for me to have
very
that
overwhelming,
conversation,
right?
It's
it's
very
like,
overwhelming.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's like drinking from a fire hose.
It's kind of like when Billy started us off and he was like, you need to, eat this and measure this. And it was like, I'm
I
just
can't do the
yeah.
macro.
Right.
I just
the
can't.
It's
macros.
intense.
My brain,
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
It's
Like,
intense.
Yeah, the macro breakdown's hard.
I've actually found, and I don't even know if this is a thing. I just I'm just winged
Let's
it.
find out.
Yeah, I just winged
it.
Winger. You're a
Jennifer,
winger.
You're a winger.
Winger.
I just found that I was eating dinner too late in the day.
Sure.
So I did all my caloric eating between later morning and, into, I would say no later than 3 or 4 p.m.
Okay.
And I don't go to bed hungry because I'm eating enough calories
Sure.
in that window. But I find that I wake up and I just feel like my body wasn't digesting all night.
Sure.
And I just feel like it's a healthier way of living. And so
I mean, 100%.
I've been doing, I came back from our trip and I was an extra 5 pounds up
Mm-hmm.
because we were,
I was too.
living
you
the
guys
life,
had
right?
you guys had a good time.
Well, I've
here I
already
am
lost,
thinking you're
like,
climbing
4
boulders.
4
and-
pounds.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm
Well,
still
I was
eating.
swollen too.
From
Well,
flying,
obviously I wasn't
yeah.
swollen, but you were also, coming off from your women's cycle.
Yeah.
So us women,
Oh yeah.
we never gauge weight based on bloating or
Yeah.
anything like
Of course not. No, you got to
that.
wait.
But I just found, is that a thing? Because when you eat
Sure.
past what, 6?
Yeah, and again, it's a great question. I think it mostly depends on the individual sleep-wake cycle is very important to consider. Like if they are going later into the night, maybe that 6 o'clock time breaks down a little bit. But generally speaking, if you can get all of your calories within that narrow window in a day,
Like 6 hours, right?
6 hours would be awesome. Most people can't get there, but let's just say you were able to do that.
I have been able to
Your
do that.
which is great. Credit to you. Love it, Erica. A+ student. But all that to say, your body isn't working on these very energy intensive processes of digestion.
Mhm.
And then think about back to our conversation about red oxygenated blood. That blood is now free to work on the brain,
I didn't think
work on the
about that.
nervous system, work on healing, work on all the things that red oxygenated blood's supposed to do, rather than be diverted to your stomach.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you eat a meal, a lot of blood flow is diverted to your stomach to begin digestion and like assimilating the calories. But all of that's now freed up for healing and restorative and quality sleep.
A lot of
all of
people
that.
too, they eat very hard to digest dinners, right? So that's probably
Mhm.
part of it.
That's right. The TV dinner. I mean, again, going back to your point
Yeah.
about processed foods, stuff that's oversalted, stuff that's not loaded with fiber, stuff that's had the micronutrients crushed out of it, like flour
Yeah.
and all of those things. That's extremely hard on the body. It's hard. And you can feel it when you eat a meal like that. Like, you come back and wow, my body is working on this because I feel lethargic, tired.
Have
You
you
know.
heard too, and this is something I read, that juicing fruit is actually not good for you because it doesn't have that fiber, doesn't
Yes.
have
Yes.
the actual, and it's like your body, if you eat a banana,
Sure.
your body digests that totally different than if you blend it in a smoothie.
100%.
And I was
Mhm.
blown away by that. So that banana is like, it's great when you're just eating it. But when you put it in a smoothie, it's just slap it on your body. It just
Yeah.
turns into,
Same banana. And that's a great point. Yeah, because once you remove that fiber, and why that's important is it actually
and the glucose
changes
spike, right?
100%. It changes the speed at which that glucose is digested in
Yeah.
your body. So then you get this rapid spike, almost like what it would be drinking a soda or a glass of
Yeah.
juice, versus you eat the entire banana. That fiber slows that process
Mm-hmm.
down a little bit, and it's much more agreeable for your body.
And you actually use it in the way that it was designed to.
Right.
When you bypass those elements in
Mhm.
anything that you're eating, you don't get the same benefit from it.
Right.
And I barely know anything, but I'm like blown away by all the things I am learning. Because Jennifer and I will cold press, and Mel too. We like to drink some cold pressed juices like carrots. Carrots are fine. And they do give you like an insulin spike, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's the same because they're not a fruit. They're a root vegetable.
Yeah, not even close, I would say. And again, they do have a little bit of natural sugar in them. That's what makes them taste so good in that form, but it wouldn't be close to most fruits, if I had to guess.
No. So
Mhm.
tell us how much your program costs. Like, what's the range?
Sure. I mean, and depending on what services you
And
want.
then what are the hours that
Yeah.
people can take classes?
Oh, that's
and
great.
days?
So let's start with group fitness. So group fitness, we have classes 9 a day right now, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, noon, 4:30, 5:30, and 6:30 p.m. So lots of options for those
Mhm.
busy professionals out there. The unlimited group fitness membership is currently $129 a month, and there's no contract. So it's
Oh, I
not,
love that.
it is not a 6, 12, 18-month obligation, because I look at it like you're making a commitment and a vote for yourself.
Mhm.
If you want to show up and put in the work, you'll be there.
Mm.
So I don't see the need for a long-term contract in that way.
You don't want people to feel locked in. I
No.
think that's nice.
I want people to want to be there
Oh, yeah,
because it changes their own experience. If they're there for themselves, they
Mhm.
truly are, they'll put more into it. And then with small group training, which we do offer 1 time a week, 2 times a week, and 3, that ranges anywhere from $120 to $199 a month. And again, that's a highly
Very
customizable
affordable.
program.
And how many days a week is that?
Up to 3. So
Okay.
we don't offer that every day. That's by appointment,
Mhm.
just because it is so highly specialized. So we got a lot of groups going right now, but yeah, anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week. And some people will do both programs, and it's a fantastic combination for
I
overall
feel
health
like
fitness.
that if it was me, because I just don't have a lot of time. I don't have the time
Yeah.
to go 5
You
days
guys
a
are
week.
busy.
I don't have the heart for it, and I don't feel like I need to. I feel like I put in the work the last 7 years,
Sure.
like for the most part.
Sure.
It would just be more a toning thing. I think
Sure.
3 days a week of the 2 to 3 person, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. And again, that's where we're able to get so specialized with the programming, almost customize it.
Yeah.
So like you come in with a group like this and
Yeah,
say
we could
like,
just we could do
Yeah.
it.
You know
You
what
guys
I'm
want to
saying?
do it
Like,
3
you-
days a week?
you're
Yeah, I
looking
would
you're
love to
looking
do
at
that.
you're looking at a small group right there, but then
Oh,
you
this
have
would
the
be fun.
ability to say, hey, look, this is who we are, this is what our lifestyle is, these are what our goals are, and you can actually get almost what would be private training in a semi-private format.
Well, and like Jennifer, Mel, and I, we
Yeah.
practically trained as a group anyways
Yeah.
before
Mhm.
because
yeah.
we enjoy it. I don't like
I can tell that about you guys for
one-on-one.
sure. That's
I
good.
like to,
Yeah.
I feel like it pushes the other people.
Mhm.
It motivates you. You
Yeah.
have an accountability partner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
you
have
can't
a really
skip.
hard time doing stuff at my home by myself. I
Oh,
just,
absolutely.
yeah, I just don't feel, even if I go to the gym by myself,
Mhm.
I just like, I mean, I can hop on an elliptical, but they say a lot of just generic cardio
Yeah.
does not drop the weight.
Not like you think it does. And there's just so much to like unpack with that. But the thing you mentioned about accountability and going somewhere, I know so many people with thousands and thousands of dollars invested into their home gyms,
Mhm.
and it just collects dust.
Yeah.
Because what people need is not access, it's accountability. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad we touched on that, because I've seen it happen time and time again. People have these like state-of-the-art garages, they have it all decked out, it looks amazing, and then it just goes unused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so then they end up signing for a program like us, and we're like, okay, cool. And then they're able to use those tools when they can't make it in. But
Well, that's a good
Um,
point too. I mean, if I was on a consistent program, I could do some stuff, but like it's just so much better to have set days and times and not too many
and
days.
reliable. Yeah, reliable for you guys, because you guys work by appointment as well, where it's like, I'm sure things can come up in a flash for you guys with what you do. So
And how long
it's
is the one
reliable.
on the 2 to 3?
Yeah. The
how-
small group is an hour.
an hour, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
it's an hour.
that's the best.
Mhm.
An hour is amazing and I feel like good with an hour, but
Yeah.
when we go out like over an hour, I'm like, I'm
Yeah, we were
dying.
Really?
doing like an hour and a half.
Were you guys
Yeah.
really? Man,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's tough to commit even that amount of time for most
It was just
people.
taking that long though.
Yeah, it took a while, and now that I'm learning all the things that I'm learning, it's so jarring. Like when I go back in hindsight and I look at the health of people in general, my perspective has changed that I want to look good.
Mhm.
I want to stay fit because I know that my family has a history of, having problems with that. At
Sure.
least my mother's side. Like
Very
my mom.
important to, genetic
Yeah,
history.
and I don't want to let myself go. I just don't. And so I just think that doing something like what you offer,
Mhm.
3 days a week, would give me at least enough to where I feel like I look good. It would give me that longevity
Mhm.
because I'm not stagnant. And then if we go on hikes or we travel the world or whatnot, we feel good
Yeah.
about it. I just don't know if everybody needs. I respect people that go 5, 6, 7 days a week.
100%.
I just don't think that my heart is in that. I feel like there's
Right.
so much more, at least for me in life, that I want to do. But a solid 3 days a week of almost one-on-one, that could give you some real results, right?
Very quickly. I mean, with strength, with body composition, with endurance, longevity, all the things that you're talking about. And the fact that you guys have stuff that's active outside of the context of the gym is exactly what we train for,
Yeah.
right? To prepare you to do things like scale a boulder, you know, or whatever, or trudge through 6 feet of snow.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Love that.
Yeah.
Love
But-
that for you.
Yeah, exactly. So like the fact that you guys are doing things outside of the gym that are like that is phenomenal. That's what you want to train for,
Yeah.
right? That's life.
Yeah.
So if we are able to effectively find a tool or a program or a protocol that prepares you for stuff like that,
Well, and honestly,
thumbs up.
I'm cool with just looking good and having terrible cardiovascular endurance.
I want to be able to do
Welcome
I
to
mean,
the
I
club.
feel like I'm gonna will it. I'm gonna will it enough to where I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I don't think I think our cardio is still pretty dang good.
I bet it is. I mean, yeah,
It's not the best, but it's better than the average American.
I
Yeah.
definitely couldn't like run to the end of the street.
I could.
you want to try
I
it?
could.
Let's try it right now.
I mean,
let's,
I
let's get
could.
the
I
audio on
could.
that.
It would be like,
You just don't want to.
How far do I have
it
to
would
go?
be very difficult for me to
No.
breathe.
I don't think so. Because it's all about speed.
Right.
I can jog slowly and
Yeah.
I'll get
yeah,
there.
but
Yeah.
see, I want to
I'm
go
not gonna
fast.
sprint.
She's got one gear. It's like,
Yeah.
She wants to do
It's
some
all or
hit.
nothing.
yeah,
I would rather do the one-on-one, focus more on lifting.
right.
I do that and
Toning.
hit.
I do like
Right.
weights though.
Yeah,
I
and
like-
weights
I
are
love
important,
weights.
I love
especially for
I
ladies.
definitely, it's the one thing at the boot camp
Mhm.
that I was with you, as I always said, I wanted to build a little bit more muscle mass.
Right, I do remember you saying that.
And I did that. And I liked
Yep.
it. But I think I would be cool with like a medium.
a nice
Yeah.
medium.
Because I look
Yeah.
a little chunky. My frame is
Getting
like,
jacked.
oh yeah, I'm like a little tank. Like I feel like you were getting really
yeah,
tanky
I was getting
too.
Yeah,
in the
I mean, she looked
shoulders.
good, but like she looked like she could kill a man.
yeah. Well, good. That's what we
Huss.
need. We need more women that look like that. You
Yeah.
know, keep these guys on their
Mel was
toes.
just always looking like a snack.
She's gonna keep her secrets.
So, do you have? What is it during the weekend? Do you have weekend hours? Is it just Saturday?
So Saturday again with small group, it's by appointment for
okay.
sure, and then we have one group fitness class on Saturdays right
Mhm.
now at 8 a.m. But that class has been consistently packed, so we're probably gonna add another one.
That's cool
Yeah.
because I feel like some people want to get their third day a weekend when
Mhm.
it's not around work or whatnot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we love offering that flexibility, and thankfully we're a private studio like that, so our clients have the ability to do that,
Mhm.
which is great.
And do you have how many trainers do you have?
So right now we have 5 trainers on staff, and one of whom's on maternity leave. So we have a really solid team. And then another one of my trainers got injured in a skiing accident in Switzerland.
put them in
Actually,
a
Wow.
Poor
bubble
guy.
wrap.
Poor guy. I know.
Are you training
Yes.
some people?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I think it's good as the owner that you have your hands in the fire.
Yeah. I feel like I need to, especially. I mean, you know, absolutely. When it comes to business, you have to be actively engaged every day.
Yeah.
I mean, in training affords me the ability to do that. Meet with the people. Meet with
Mhm.
our people. And I still love training. I'm gonna do it as long as I can.
well, you're still
so-
really young.
Yeah.
How old are
Yeah.
32.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. Whatever you guys
As
say.
long as I physically am
Yeah.
able to.
I'm
just
a-
a baby.
Hey, in the fitness industry, I'm a
I got
dinosaur.
40 more years.
Yeah, every trainer's like, 21 to like 29, and
You
then
know
they
what
get
though?
out of it.
You have the experience,
Yeah.
life
Mhm.
experience, and the comprehensive knowledge that the average 20-year-old doesn't have.
Yeah.
That's fair.
20-year-old you is not the same.
Oh, not even close. No.
No, when you
Wouldn't even
first
know that
started,
person.
how many years ago did you start doing the group fitness
The group
stuff?
fitness class. So it's funny. I didn't even think I was going to do that. When I came out of school, I grew up playing football, played football all the way through college, and I thought I was going to
What
train
college did you?
Cornell University.
Oh,
So I
Cornell's
played
good.
football there, studied nutritional sciences there. That's kind of my background. And then I thought when I graduated, I was going to train like NFL players or people that were getting ready to like go to the NFL. Like
You're
that
like
was gonna be my
women.
thing. I know, right?
Mothers.
That happened. That was like a happy accident. So that
Baby
was like,
fat.
yeah. So my career obviously did a nice little 180 there. But then truthfully, when I started working with mostly women and moms and stuff, like y'all are tough. Like
Yeah.
really tough.
We're badass.
More so than a lot of the
We're
professional
amazing.
athletes I've worked for.
Really?
Worked with. Yeah.
You know, I will
Real
say my
talk. That's real.
husband was an assistant strength and conditioning coach at Xavier University.
Okay.
And he would laugh because some of the exercises he'd put them through, they'd be like, I can't or I won't.
Yeah.
And he was like, what?
Yeah. They're some
Like,
of
you're a
them
freaking
are
elite
prima donnas.
athlete.
Some of them
Yeah.
are prima donnas though.
Yeah.
Never been tested in that way. And then you guys are like, no, more. Like I've
Yeah.
had 5 cups.
Oh.
Let's go.
I
You know?
met when we did those group training, like I saw some women and I'm like, look, I can't touch your motivation.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
you're
I
like,
did that
locked
with him.
in.
You remember?
Oh,
Whenever
yeah.
you started, I did like a week with you, just like
Oh,
a trial
what, with
run.
me?
Yeah.
What?
Whenever
Yeah.
How do I not remember? I used
This
to remember
was when-
everybody.
when kind of, I would say
I probably look a lot different now than I did then.
she was
Maybe.
bigger.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight.
Okay. Why can't I remember that? I usually remember
It was
everybody
a
I
long
trained.
time ago.
Because
Okay.
it was brief. It was
It was
like
only
that
like a week, and I was
sample.
like, okay.
Okay. So I saw you like once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you remember? Yes.
But no, you know what it was? You worked out with Aaron, Aaron.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I did.
Love that guy.
Oh, he was freaking
But it was
amazing.
intense, and some of those women were like,
Yeah,
He
that
was
guy's
like,
like,
off the
those are
wall.
too
never
little.
back
those
down.
big
I'm
dumbbells.
telling you, don't sleep on the ladies, man. Tough,
Oh my
tough
gosh.
squad.
There
Yeah.
are some where I've
Tough
just
squad.
it wasn't intimidating, but I was like, look, like I'm very self-aware that I'm not gonna reach that level.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm okay with it.
When you have to like be like, you have to want that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And maybe that's not.
They're, to
what you
me,
want.
they're the freak of nature. Like
Yeah.
those athletes, like
Mhm.
their
Yeah.
genes are, it's just there. God gave it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And God's not give me those genes. He gave me like, they're okay. Like they're pretty good.
I think people would argue have like other talents and
Yeah.
proclivities
Well,
that
exactly.
he's like, you can have all this
I
stuff.
can't have everything. And I'm
Right.
okay that I don't have the fitness bug. I mean, I like to be healthy,
Right.
Yeah.
but like, I just,
"You're doing great."
Yeah, right. Let's
Every
encourage,
year as
let's
I get
encourage
older, I'm gonna be
Erica.
like,
You're
"Man."
doing great, Erica. You're doing
Amen.
great.
So you have how many people are members of your,
Just
Yeah.
under 200.
wow, that's
Yeah.
really
Okay.
great.
Just under 200. I mean, I'm sure you feel this way and you guys feel this way with your respective businesses and stuff. I want more. I'm like ready for this thing to pop and blow up. Like we're so close. We're there. And it just keeps feeling like we're just right on the edge
You know,
of
it's
hitting that
5
tipping
years.
point.
It's
Yeah.
5 years for any business.
I know. In my mind, though, I'm like, okay,
You've
if
actually
other people go 5, it's 2
accelerated.
for me.
You've
you know?
really accelerated. So you're,
think so?
Yeah, like your 5 years probably going to be, you're going to knock it out of the park. But it's always the first 3 years, you feel like you're going up this very slow. Like when my
Slow.
husband opened his
It's too
chiropractic
slow.
practice,
Yeah.
our first month, we made $600. And I was like, wow, we got a lot of debt. Like, we got a lot of debt. And,
So we can
you
start
know,
churning here.
$600.
Yeah,
like,
it's
ooh.
pretty, man, that moment that you
But
just
you
described.
know, when you
Yeah.
first started to where you are now in a 2-year, 3-month period, like
Sure.
that's pretty incredible.
Sure. I mean, I appreciate you guys
And
saying
where
that.
did you come up with the name?
Level 6? Oh my gosh. So level 6 is weird because it's a 2-part name. First of all, my middle name is 6.
Oh.
Just like
Is
the
it?
number. 100%
That's awesome.
SIX.
Where
Just
did you
like the
get that?
number.
Like, what's the story behind that?
So the story, like, it's a funny story, actually. It's my mom's maiden name. And my grandfather, her dad, is like, just a central figure in my life, someone I look up to and aspire to. He was a Marine college football player, a great football coach for a long time, and just a really great guy that everybody in his community and town really looked up to, and for like leadership and friendship. And he always told the most amazing stories. So in a lot of ways, level 6 is in part named after him and for that family side of it. And then when it comes to training, there are 5 traditional like cardiovascular zones. I know you guys hate cardio,
Oh, yeah.
but the level
Bring
6
it.
or the 5th or the 6th
Mel
zone
loves
or
it
level.
and hikes.
Oh, she does. She gets it in.
So
Gonna be in hit
level
later
refers
this
to
week.
the levels
Yes.
of intensity.
The levels of intensity and then like just the cardiovascular output, like what your heart rate would be at. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
get up to the explosion, the heart
Yeah,
explosion.
There you
that's
go.
what
So
level 6
Yeah.
That's level 6. Yeah. You've reached, you've effectively
Yeah.
reached level 6.
Gone to level 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mel's come back from the other side
Yeah,
of level 7.
seven. Yeah.
It's actually funny because I think there's a bar in Raleigh called Level 7. So
There
like, you
is.
could go to level 6 and then go to level 7.
Yeah, I like that.
Sounds like a good Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What do you think about alcohol in the diet?
Okay. It has its place, right? Like, so
Does it?
over,
'Cause
well,
some people are like, absolutely not.
Red
this
wine.
Is a tough one because
well,
yeah,
Jesus.
when I talk to it's in the Bible, right?
Amen. Shout out.
Back to those scriptures.
It's so funny because what
Doesn't have, like reservoirs something in it. I forgot what it's called. But it's
Resveratrol.
yeah.
Yes.
Resveratrol. Like
Yeah,
that is
that
good
stuff
for
is
you.
real too.
You can
Erica's,
take it in
you're
capsule
on this
form, or you
stuff.
can just
Yeah.
have like.
You're on
red
it.
It's like
wine.
I know
Erica's
nothing,
like, I
but I
take 300
secretly know
grams a day
everything.
of resveratrol. You don't know you got to mega dose it. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But so, yeah, I mean, with what I didn't, estimate or appreciate at first was how hard it was going to be to convince the average lady to drop the wine. That was the hardest conversation I kept having over and over with thousands of clients.
What would you sub it with though?
Water.
There's really no,
white
yeah.
wine is not good for you, but red wine in moderation.
It has
Yeah.
its health benefits.
Although the average Napa Valley wine, red wine, has like 42 carcinogenics in it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
What? From Napa? I thought they were putting out the
Yes. So
high quality stuff,
we started
Organic.
drinking. Yeah, we
Ooh,
started
organic
drinking a
wine.
Bordeaux.
Dang.
It's $13 at Whole Foods.
Like, blew
Okay.
my mind.
and it's organic.
Okay.
And it's actually, because it's from France, it's a
Okay.
Bordeaux, it tastes good. Because
Okay.
the American organic wine is like drinking,
yeah.
like rubbing alcohol.
Sounds terrible.
It's
Yes.
not. So just to let you know,
Okay.
if you have any ladies.
There's your sub right
There
there.
it is.
Go get that
42,
$13
you're
Bordeaux
welcome.
from what,
Like
Whole Foods?
something toxins. That is
Yeah.
awful.
That's terrible. I wasn't even aware of that.
So
actually.
okay, they don't want to stop the wine. So you just say you can have a little bit, or do you say you should have vodka? But honestly, vodka's terrible
I
for you.
hate vodka.
Yeah, you know what? And it's crazy. Like
It's just
you,
that
so
green
we go back to
alcohol.
those like two layers,
Yeah.
right? You love and understand very well the health, longevity,
Mhm.
energy. Where I'm starting with fitness, where it's like empirical calories. Okay, I know that a shot of vodka has between 70 and 80 calories for whatever 1 ounce or 1.5
Mhm.
ounces, whatever it is. So I don't even coach them that way. I just tell them to relegate their drinking to select nights of the week. Because some people I meet with, it's every night.
A
It's,
bottle every night.
and you would be surprised
Oh no,
because
I know.
it's
I know.
very a lot for some people. And so getting them to do anything that's slightly better than what they're already doing is a huge win. So let's say it is a bottle of wine most nights for some people, and it is. If they do half, that's better. And
Yeah.
they're making progress. So that's usually where I start. It depends on the client.
But
you
I
know,
mean,
but I'm
the
never
average
taking it away
person,
from
if
anybody.
they have a glass of wine 3 or so days a week, do you have a problem with that?
No,
I mean, I
absolutely
would
not.
a red
No,
wine, because
wouldn't give me pause at
white
all.
wine, which Mel loves, she loves that
Yeah.
sweet
Ugh,
wine.
the
That
residual
is so
sugar.
bad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is just.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fancy
It's been
grape
worse
juice.
things. Let's switch her to red.
Let's go. No, powdered melatonin, obviously,
Yeah.
is the answer there. Okay.
Snort it. No,
Let's
just
just throw a
powdered-
line in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it calorie free? Is that? Oh my god!
I got you, girl.
Well, it's all about the quality.
Yeah.
No, when you take melatonin.
It's all about the quality.
Did you know if you take melatonin, though, it does not alter your natural production whatsoever?
Which
Was-
most people
actually,
believe
no.
is true.
Aware of
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have done studies and they have disproven, and they did a study too with mice where they gave them 300 milligrams a day for years, and the mice had zero issues with it.
Wow.
Mice.
So like, yeah, body size, right? So that's like the first thing you look at with supplements or drugs is
It's probably like 50,000.
for a human. Yeah, I
Milligrams.
would agree. It's like way up
Yeah.
there. Wow.
So isn't that a great? You
It
need to take
is.
180
I just had a
milligrams a evening.
flashback to when your
Yes.
dad was like, "Well, if the mice were okay."
So
That was he sold himself on it with that. It's like,
Here's
well, if the
the-
mice
Here's the
made it,
thing
I'm
with
good.
melatonin. So if you have a PET or a CT scan, and we're not talking MRI because that's with magnets. That's the level of radiation that you get with a PET scan is the equivalent of like 8 years of just normal radiation exposure from the environment. So
8
and
years?
that's in a
8
condensed,
years?
Yeah, one scan.
And so they have done studies, like actual studies, where if you take 300 milligrams of melatonin 2 hours before a CT or a PET scan, it actually protects your cells like amazingly well.
Hmm.
And so it has almost no effect on your body when you do that. So
Wow.
my father, we're in this like cancer journey, and he had already had 2 CT scans, and I'm reading this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we need to get you 300 milligrams.
And this is
Stats.
before. This is before she found like
The 60 milligram
50
ones.
milligram capsules.
So I got him a bottle of 10 milligrams, and I'm like, take 30. I'm like, take 30.
30 capsules.
he
My
goes-
goodness.
I don't know. I can't. And I'm like, you have to for your cells. Like, you have to protect your cells. And that's when he did say, he was like, are you sure? Like, I'm going to be okay. And I'm like, well, there's a study on mice. And he's like, well, if the mice were okay, then I guess I'll be okay. It was fine.
Yeah.
But I'm
Gosh.
just like, they're going to see the
He slept
scan.
for 10 days.
Well, and that wasn't
He was
even
sleepy.
the best quality.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Right.
like,
The good
I'm a
quality.
big, if you can't tell, I'm a big melatonin person. It
Yeah.
actually helps you age better. So if
Take it.
when you're hitting like 40,
I'm turning 39.
Okay. So you're still safely in your 30s. You're good.
she is. Yeah, we're gonna go down in age every year after the next
I believe
couple
it.
years.
I mean, this melatonin thing,
Yeah.
we're onto something here.
Might as
I think
well.
we're gonna wind.
It's a vampires where we
We're gonna,
don't age at all.
we're gonna start winding back the clock.
So I just appreciate all your time. Thank you for coming on our little podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for
If
having
anybody
us.
wants to find you, where can they reach
Sure.
your website or you?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Go to level6training.com. So
Mhm.
www.level6 like the number training.com.
Is it like the letter 6 or spelling out?
Oh, it's the number. Yeah, the
Okay.
numerical
Level
6.
number
Yep.
6.
Yep, level number 6 training. And then on Instagram, I'm trained with E6. So you can look that up, or on Instagram at level 6 training.
Awesome.
And that's usually where we hang out. So
Great.
yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming on. I
Heck
felt
yeah.
like we got to talk about nutrition too, which
Yes.
is so fun for me
Yes.
because I'm like right in the midst of it. And,
yeah, you know a lot.
I know a little bit, enough
She's
to be
dangerous.
so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to the T.A.R. Life podcast with top producing mega agent Erica Anderson. If you've enjoyed this episode or found the content to be useful or fun, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Visit our website at www.teamandersonrealty.com. We are actively serving the Triangle area: Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, and the coastal regions of North Carolina. If you're looking to sell a home, please contact Team Anderson Realty to set up an in-person or virtual consultation today.